Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Wednesdays are injection day for me every other week, so I will be taking my 5th Taltz shot today. I am on Taltz for psoriasis. I have PPP, which is like a palmoplantar pustular psoriasis, which, these little blisters form on your hands and then they burst and make little nasty sores that hurt really bad. Have them on my hands and on my feet. I haven't been the best about getting on here and updating since my last video. I have had another shot since then. Mainly because there's just not a whole lot to really update anybody on. It's just, I'm taking it every 2 weeks and hoping that it works. So in addition to taking the Taltz medication, I'm trying to do a little bit more research on what I've been diagnosed with. My doctor has always told me to be a student of my diagnosis. And so, I'll spend a lot of time researching and trying to find other things to help. A lot of what I'm seeing is diet. Like, diet is big. And like pre-COVID, I really watched what I was eating. I, tried to stay away from grains, like carbs as much as possible, and try to eat more of a whole food diet, more of a ketogenic diet the correct way, not, all the Atkins things and all of that stuff. Like, try to do it the right way. And honestly, that was the best that I ever felt. I was at a healthy weight. I didn't have any more sciatic pain. Again, I am not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, but this is just me expressing what I have done in the past and what I'm doing now to just try to help. So I knew that I felt the best whenever I followed the ketogenic diet and did it the correct way. So when COVID hit, we live in small rural town of Oklahoma. So when COVID was starting and everybody was like panic buying and all this stuff, like, you pretty much just had to get what you could get. So we were getting the pastas, we were getting the breads, we were just getting whatever we could get our hands on. And so I fell off the wagon hard. And around that time is when I started to develop the PPP. And now that I've done a lot of research and I've looked back, I'm like, it kind of makes sense that this kind of goes together. So, I've kind of played around with it a little bit. Probably shouldn't have, because it just makes everything else so confused and your body just is like, oh, what the heck? But I wanted to play and I wanted to see. So for a week and a half, after my previous Taltz injection, I went strictly keto. I stayed away from dairy. It was literally just veggies, meat, and like grass-fed butter or ghee. Like, I stayed away from dairy, cheese. I stayed away from it all. Stayed away from nightshade vegetables such as like peppers. Like, I literally was just like green beans and meat because, like, I wanted to try to keep it as simple as possible, because when you are changing the way that you're eating and you're trying to adapt differently, it can get overwhelming and then you can get bored and get tired of the same things. But honestly, like, I feel like it's all up here. Once you get in the right mindset, you're golden and you can go. So I did that for a week and a half. And I saw huge improvements. My hands were literally almost clear. My feet were getting to where they didn't hurt. I was able to actually wear like real shoes. I was like, okay, this is big. Mind you, I already knew all this. However, I just didn't have the mindset to do it. I just was like, I didn't feel good, so I just didn't really care. I was just, food makes some of us feel happy, and so I was like, I'm just gonna eat the cookie. But in reality, I was really hurting myself. And doing that for a week and a half, my hands started to clear. My feet started to feel the best they felt in over a year. And I was like, duh, like, come on. Then my kids got out of school. And then it was just like a spiral again. Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening into Friday into the weekend. And here it was, Monday of this week. And I'm like, my hands are cracked. I've got sores on my hands. They hurt so bad. My feet are hurting so bad. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know that this isn't good for you. Like, why do you keep doing this to yourself? So Monday comes around again and I'm like, okay, we got to do this. So for the last 2 days, I've been back to watching what I'm eating, trying to stay away from, the grains, the carbs, like the sugar. Sugar is a big trigger for me. And dairy. I've noticed that dairy really kind of irritates me. I've never really had a dairy allergy, but I do have gut problems, and a lot of like psoriasis and all that, it starts in the gut. And so when I eat dairy, I notice that my hands sometimes will get a little irritated. So since Monday, I've started to watch what I eat and just try to roll with it. I'm not saying that would work for everybody, but it is something that I feel more people should be in tune to, and do your own research on it. Dr. Berg has some really good videos on it. Dr. Ken Berry has quite a few, I saw 3 videos on it, on psoriasis, and like do's and don'ts, and like 7 things you should stay away from. And when I listened to him and I did what he said to do, I saw improvement. And it was nothing new to me. Like, I knew all that, but I don't know if I just needed some more validation or what. I don't know. But to me, I honestly feel like it was a mindset thing. Like, I just didn't feel good, so I was just going to go eat whatever I wanted. And not making the connection that I didn't feel good, and eating whatever I wanted wasn't necessarily making me feel better. It was honestly hurting me more than it was making me feel better. But we're human. We slip up. We make mistakes. We try to go with the best thing we think to make us feel better, and sometimes that is not the answer. So I'll take my 5th injection today. And I'll show you guys again how I do it. It'll be like a fast-paced thing, but and I'll try to get better about updating everybody. Just, be a student of your diagnosis. Like, if that's one thing that my doctor has ever done for me, was say those words to me. Because for so long, like, I would just literally, like, I have also a thyroid condition. I'm hypothyroid. So, like, whenever she diagnosed me with that, I'm like, well, I've known that for years. But there's so many different things now that you can do just by changing your diet to help alleviate a lot of the symptoms. And like I said, pre-COVID, whenever I was watching what I was eating and doing, real keto, it was the best I ever felt. I didn't have hardly any thyroid complications, like any symptoms, like nothing. Like, I was my prime. Like, for being 30 years old, like, I was good. But I would encourage everybody to really just dig in and watch some of Dr. Berg and Kim Berry's YouTube videos on psoriasis, if that's what you have. Just to see if maybe you can make the same connection that I did, because it all makes sense now. But that's kind of where I'm at.